Welcome to my YouTube channel. The topic that I will be discussing today is XML, Extensible Markup Language. I will be discussing the basic idea of XML. See, what is XML? XML stands for Extensible Markup Language, designed to store and transport data. Here, transport means transfer data from machine A to machine B or from a device to another type of device. So that is why XML was basically designed. It was designed in the late 90s, and it was created to provide a easy to use and store self-describing data. It was used to store and easy to use, store and self-describing data that can self-describe itself. So how can we describe our own data? We have to write down the code by ourselves. So that is why the tags in XML were user defined, means the user could write their own tags. I will be explaining to you about this in the later part of the chapter. And the most important thing of XML was it is platform independent. It could work in any kind of machine, like in a Windows machine or in a Macintosh machine, or say an Android mobile, or anywhere, any type of device, any type of platform you give him, it will work on it. That is why it is called as platform independent and also language independent. Thank you. The next topic is, then let me talk about the basic difference between XML and HTML. There are many differences between XML and HTML. I have taken out around 5-6 and I have explained them in details. What is the basic difference between XML and HTML? Any layman can understand this one. See, the first difference I'm telling you is XML is used to transfer and store data. Means XML was designed to transfer data and to store it, whereas HTML was designed to display data on a web page. If I want to display, if I want to create a web page, if I want to display something in the web page, I use HTML. But if I want to store some data, keep it, that time we use XML. And I want to transfer those data into some other devices, that time we use XML. Then the next difference between XML and HTML. See, here XML is case sensitive, whereas HTML is not case sensitive. What does that mean? That means if you look carefully at the example, here you will see name is in small letter. That we, in our computer language, we call it as lowercase. Whereas the close tag of name is in capital letter, that is uppercase. So this thing is wrong. That is why I gave a cross sign. This thing is wrong in XML. In XML, if you write like this, they will say this is a wrong thing. So why? Because it is case sensitive. If I write name in small letter, I have to write the closing tag of name in small letter. Whereas in HTML, it is not case sensitive. So if I write center in small letter and I close center in capital letter, for HTML it is perfect. Actually we should not do it, but again it will accept it. It will write Raju in the center of a web page. Okay, but it's better we do not write this way. But again it is acceptable in HTML, and HTML will not mark it as wrong. This is the second difference. The third difference is, in XML, we can define tags according to our need. That is what I have explained to you earlier also. The tags in XML are user defined. Tags you can define. See, here I have written 3 tags. The first tag is name, that I have defined as Raju. Address I have defined as Delhi, address close, and then quantity. These are my tags. I have written it. You might have you, if you want to write, you can write ADD. For name you can write NAM. That computer will accept it. But in HTML it is predefined, means the owner of HTML, whoever designed HTML, the inventor of HTML, he had thought of some keywords like B, U, center, I, many different words, and those words perform some particular task. That is why it is known as predefined tags. Then the next difference of XML and HTML is it is mandatory. XML, it is mandatory to close the tags. See, but see, look at my tags here. Name, I have closed it. Address, I have closed it. QTY, I have closed those tags. That slash sign is the closing tag. But for HTML, there are tags. There are tags that do not have a closing tag. So that is the main problem. In HTML, we have tags that do not have a closing tag, like image tag, we do not have a closing tag, like HR tag, we do not have a closing tag. PR tag, sometimes we can use it without the closing tag also, we don't have any problem for that one. It is a break line tag. So XML, you have to have a closing tag, open tag as well as a closing tag, whereas in XML we have to have a open tag and a closing tag, whereas in HTML we can skip the closing tag also, but there are certain tags which do not have the closing tag. The difference between XML and HTML based on the white space. This is very important. White space is the blank space. Okay, see, in HTML, if there are multiple, I'll talk about HTML first. In HTML, if there are multiple white spaces, the output of it will be a single white space. Look at this one, the example of HTML. First look at the example of HTML, then we will be talking about XML. First you have to understand what is the difference here. See here, in HTML I have written B Austin and I gave us lot of space, lot of blank spaces, and then I wrote a row and I closed the B tag. But in the output you will see there is only one single space between Austin and Rao. I have given around 10 spaces, but here I have only one space. So that is why it is said that in HTML multiple white spaces are truncated to a single white space, whereas in XML white spaces are not truncated. So look at my example. In XML I have written Austin space Rao. The output is also the same. Austin space is there. As many space I gave in the example in the code, the same in the output also will be as many space I gave there, it will be same in the output also. So if I give 5 space, it will be 5 blank spaces here. So that is why it is told that the XML white spaces are not truncated. The next one, in XML the attribute values are always surrounded by double quotation. Whenever we write attribute value, here see, bus is my XML tag, rate is my attribute, and the attribute value is rupees 120, rs 120, that is my attribute value. I have to always write the attribute value in inverted comma. Okay, but in XML the attribute values can be in inverted comma, can be in double inverted comma, can be in single inverted comma, and sometimes we can also skip the inverted commas. So I have given 3 examples. See, body is the tag, bg color is the attribute, and red is the attribute value. The first case I did not give an inverted comma, that is quotations. In the second case I have given double inverted comma or the double quotes, and in the third case I have given single quote, and all three will run. So that is the major difference. Attribute values in XML need double inverted comma, but in HTML you can give double inverted comma, you can give single inverted comma, or you may not give also, but still it will work. Now, what is an XML element? Okay, an XML element is everything from the element's start tag to the element's end tag and the content inside them. Look at my code. So this whole thing, the blue colored thing is the XML element, where first name is the start tag, Rahul is the content, and first name close the end tag, that is also an XML element. This everything falls under the XML element. Okay, there are rules to name XML elements. Like if you want to write, see, as you know that as I have told you also, the tags are XML tags are user defined, so we can write down the tags by ourselves. So there are certain rules that we have to follow for writing down the XML tags or XML elements. The first rule is it can contain letter, number, or some special characters. There I have written num is letters, underscore is a special character or other characters, whatever you say, and one is a number. So these three things can be incorporated in a XML element. Now the second thing, it cannot start with a number. See, this is wrong. Which the all the red color ones are wrong. So 2 num1 is wrong. It cannot start with a number. Then the third one is it cannot contain space. So first space name I have given, that is wrong again, because it do not have name in space in between them. It should not have, sorry. And the last one, it cannot start with the word XML, capital letter XML, X capital ML, etc. All these things are not acceptable. Okay, so only the first part is first one is correct, num underscore one. So all these three things are wrong. You if you write something like this, it will be marked as error. Now this is an example of an XML code. See, we start by writing like this. We give a less than sign, then a question mark, XML, then a space, version equal to 1.0, in then 1.0 is in inverted comma, then a question mark, and then close it. And this is an XML code, an actual XML code. Okay, if you want to see the output, I'll show you the, this is the XML code, but here there are certain things that I want to tell you. The first one, see this one, the note. I want to show you back. Note here is the root element. Note is the root element. Then 2 is the parent element. Why it is a parent element? Because it has two child element, f name and l name. Since, see, again I will tell you, note is the root element. Every XML code should have a root element. Okay, it can have a parent element, but if it has a parent element, it should have child elements too, and the rest are also XML elements only. So root is the note is the root element. The output of this one, I think so you understood this one, is a simple XML code, and the output of this one is this one. See, this is the output of this one. It will look in the browser, if you see, it will look something like this. If I make a mistake there, then there will be error somewhere or the other, and it will say the XML code is not working properly. But that thing, the code's output is like this in a browser. And whenever you write XML codes, you write it in Notepad or some other application and save it as the name, give a name to it with .xml as its extension. Like for HTML, we give .html as an extension. Like we give a name .html, Bhaskar.html. For XML, Bhaskar.xml. Okay, this is called an XML tree. The same code that I have written, I have showed it here in the right corner, top corner. That is the code, and from that code I have created an XML tree. You look carefully. First is the note. So note is the root element, so it is at the top. After that I have 2, and in 2 is the parent element, and under that I have got the child element, f name and l name. I have written that one also. Then from, then I have written subject and the body, and whatever I have written inside the content, I have also written it down there. So this is how you write an XML tree. You draw an XML tree, sorry. Okay, then the next topic that we will be discussing is well-formed XML document. What do you mean by well-formed XML document? And well-formed XML document must meet the following criteria. The first one, The root and the child element must be nested properly. So the root elements should be at the top, inside them the child element should be there. First we have to close the child element, then only we can close the root element. Means we cannot just randomly close the elements. Each start tag must have a corresponding end tag. See, as I told you before, XML, all tags in XML should have a closing tag. That is what they are saying. Every starting tag must have a closing tag. If there is some empty tag, means the tag does not have any content, it should be closed properly. As tags are case sensitive, the start tag and the end tag must be of the same case. I have already explained that one. If the tags, since XML is a case sensitive language, the start tag and the end tag must be of the same case. All attribute values in XML should be enclosed within double quotes. That also I have explained to you. So this thing is very important. These are the 5 points that you have to remember for a well-formed XML document. Next comes the topic, what is XML DTD? DTD stands for Document Type Definition. It provides a list of elements contained in the XML document and their relationship to one another. See, the DTD contains the list of elements, means whatever XML elements I am using in the document, all the datas are stored in the DTD and the relationship to one another. I will show you when I have already created a DTD. I will show you the DTD, then you will understand. See, first you have to remember DTD has a list of elements and those lists should be there in the XML code. That is the main thing. There are two types of DTD, internal DTD where the XML and the DTD are in the same file, and external DTD where the DTD is in a separate file and the XML code is in a separate file. So this is an internal DTD. You look at this carefully, you will see. See, first second line you will see doc type item. This means the name of the DTD, the document type is item. The root element's name should be there. Then I have a square bracket. Inside the square bracket, all the elements name are first described. There, see, the first element is item, that is my root element, and inside the root element are my code, name, memory, color and price. All the 5 child elements are described there. Then element code, PC data. PC data stands for, if you look below, there I have written PC data stands for parsed character data. This means that the data is a character data or an empty data, means it can have 0 or more characters, but still it is a character, it is not a null value. PC data means it is a character data, it is not a null value, it can contain 0 alphabet or it can contain more than 0 alphabet. So first one is element item. Item consists of five child elements. Item is the root element, code, name, memory, color and price are my child elements. Code, PC data, element, code, PC data. Like this we describe everything. So this part, from that doc type till the element, price, PC data, close of that square bracket and the tag is closed, that whole thing is known as the DTD. And below that is my XML code. It is simple. Item is the root element, then there are 5-6 child elements which are under item. So this is a internal DTD. Internal DTD consists of elements that are already present in the XML code and they are listed in a proper way, one after another. Now the next topic that we will be discussing is about XML parsers. What is XML parsers? See, XML parsers are softwares that reads an XML document, identifies all the tags and passes the data to various applications. It's very simple. XML parser is a software. It is a software that reads the XML document. Whatever I have written, it will read it. It will identify the XML codes and then pass the data. Whatever data I want to pass to different application, it will pass the data. It interprets the code according to the XML standard. So according to XML standard, it will identify the data and interpret the data. There are two types of XML parsers. First one is non-validating XML parser, and the second one is validating XML parser. What is non-validating XML parser? Non-validating XML parsers check whether the XML document is well formed or not. That is, whether they are marked up according to the XML syntax. This means what? Non-validating XML parser checks whether my document, whatever I have written, follows the XML rule or not. If it does not follow the XML rule, it will say that see, there is error here and there, and it will not display the data. All web browsers are non-validating XML parser. I have given you some examples of non-validating XML parsers also. It's better you remember all the names. So these are the non-validating XML parsers. They check whether my document is well formed or not, means it follows the rules or not, means all the close tags and the open tags are there or not. All these things they will check. Whether or not it is written in capital letter and something is written in small letter or not, if there is something, all the rules that I told you about XML, they will check whether these rules are satisfied or not. If it is not satisfied, then it will give an error. But that much it will do. But this is validating XML parser. So validating XML parsers are XML parsers that check whether the XML document are well formed or not. Like non-validating, it will also check whether it is well formed or not, and also will check whether the elements that we have declared in the DTD are exactly of the same specification that is there in the document. In the XML code and the DTD, they will match. Whether in the DTD I have written item, and whether the item is there in my XML code or not. So that is, those things are known as XML validating XML parser. Those parsers which checks whether the XML document is well formed or not, and also checks whether the document that I have specified in the document that I have specified in the DTD matches the things that are in the code or not. So XML4C, XML4J, MS XML are few examples of validating XML parsers.